Today's episode of Inside Gaming Daily is sponsored by Drop and the COS GMR headset.
Hey everyone, welcome back to Inside Gaming for Thursday.
Oh, it's Thursday, the best day of the week. You know what that means? It's time for another review roundup.
Wait, is that like actually a Thursday thing now?
Yeah, y'all, get here, review scores. Oh, I got him, he's fighting me, but we got an 88 on our hands. Also, it's a slow news day and everyone already watched the Nintendo Direct. So what are we gonna do, just read everything they said again?
I can tell you why Jedi Outcast is one of the best games ever made. We've got a big new exclusive for the Xbox One to talk about. That's Gears 5, which is definitely a welcome thing for that console.
And the long-awaited expansion for Monster Hunter World, Iceborne.
Well, let's talk about Gears 5 since more people have voted on Reddit. I actually don't know if that's true or not, but it seemed like a good joke to make, right?
Yeah, right? Is it? Anyway, what's up with Gears 5, Brian?
So it officially releases for Xbox One and PC on Tuesday next week, but if you pre-ordered it or subscribed to Microsoft Game Pass Ultimate, if you're an Ultimate gamer, you can play it starting tonight.
That's how I become Ultimate Gamer?
You an Ultimate gamer?
Just give them extra money and you're Ultimate.
I love it. A big question for Xbox One fans is in regards to Gears 5, will this finally be the exclusive that the console so desperately needs?
Yeah, it's no secret that this generation has been rough on the Xbox One, from the bungled launch to the severe lack of exclusives, which has helped its arch rival Sony take the top spot with the PS4.
Yeah, you can only replay Sunset Overdrive so many times. Turns out about 2.
There's Halos.
So how did the critics like Gears 5, Brian?
Good news. Very respectable reviews. It's currently at an 86 on both Metacritic and OpenCritic. That's good, but not great territory, but still very respectable.
The game comes from Vancouver developer The Coalition, which returns to the franchise after Gears of War 4, which still had a war in the title. It's just Gears now.
They've changed it, yeah.
Yeah, so they kind of sort of rebooted the franchise back in 2016, took it away from Epic. There were more colors and more dyed millennial hairstyles at least, so I guess that counts as a reboot.
And Gears 5 is a direct sequel to its predecessor, focusing on Kat Diaz.
I think it's Kate.
Kate? Kayat? Why can't we spell words normal?
It's in the future.
Or the past? It's on a different planet.
On Terra. Wait, Promethea? What is the name of that planet?
Promathia? Chains of Promathia? Sorry, that's a really obscure Final Fantasy XI reference.
Gears 5 is a direct sequel to its predecessor, focusing on Kate Diaz, who is trying to discover the origins of the Locust Swarm, as well as her own family.
That's right, it's supernatural, but it's personal. But if you skip Gears of War 4, you can jump right into this one. Polygon notes that the game gives you an up-to-date refresher on the in-game universe, so even players who are new to the series won't be lost.
Yeah, there's a chainsaw on the bottom of the gun, you're up to speed, get out there!
Well, there was like a Locust Queen, but 4 wasn't even really about the Locust, it was about the
robots?
Coalition?
I
guess?
Of course, it's a Gears game, so there's gonna be lots of hunkering behind waist-high walls and shooting. The game also has a tutorial to get you up to speed on its unique brand of cover-based third-person shooting. In case you haven't played a video game in the last 15 years, it's borderline insulting.
Slam your shoulders up against everything.
If you press buttons, they'll do things. Thanks, video game.
Polygon notes that the weapons in Gears 5 retain the chunky mechanical feel from their earlier entries, and the risk-reward cycle of active reloading with perfect timing causes constant joy and frustration, depending entirely on whether I screw it up while monsters try to murder me.
Or aliens, what are they now? Hybrid models?
They were like goo things. I remember it was 3 that the emulsion got inside the Locust, and
just show Dom kill himself.
have been swallowed by a giant worm, and Dom gets killed by driving a car into a wall.
So while Gears 5 does have multiplayer, of course, the star of the game is a 9 to 10 hour campaign mode featuring the return of characters like Marcus Phoenix, as well as his son, JD. Did we all forget he had a son? I forgot.
No, he was a protagonist in 4.
There's also Del Walker and other big hunky things.
The story revolves around Kate, obviously, and her mother Reyna, who was kidnapped by the Swarm. The Swarm! That's it. That's a new enemy.
Also, the graphics got very much praised, especially the lush jungle terrain and the game's use of atmospheric lighting, which IGN said, quote, gives Gears a unique and gorgeous visual signature.
Does it have ray tracing?
Yeah, I think it has to, right?
I don't think it does.
If Epic's not making it anymore, it doesn't get all the good stuff.
Basically, yes. For multiplayer, Horde mode is back, as well as a 3-player co-op mode called Escape, and there's an arcade multiplayer that's meant to be approachable for newbies. So that's nice. If you play the campaign and think you're good at Gears, you are not, because the multiplayer is nothing like the campaign. Holy crap.
Also, as of today, you can unlock Dave Bautista as a multiplayer character.
That's awesome.
Cool. He looks like he belongs in that universe anyway, like he was the model that they based it on.
Yeah, he's got the same silhouette. There were a few criticisms though. VentureBeat's Dean Takahashi criticized the difficulty of some of the boss fights, which apparently means they were harder than that Cuphead tutorial. Ooh, got you! Got you, Dean! Ooh, got you. He posted that making fun of himself way back when, which is weird that it got caught up in this whole like games journalists are all fake and they've been lying to us for years. Blah, 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 blah.
What else did the self-aware journalist say, Brian?
Dean Cuphead Takahashi said that sometimes the story got a bit unbelievable, especially a part where you have to build a rocket it in a, quote, decades-old rocket facility, overrun in combat and covered with sand. So apparently that was just a bridge too far for Dean. He's not buying it.
There was a part in Gears where they all got swallowed by a giant worm and had to carve their way out with chainsaw guns.
I miss my wife.
Anyway, others felt like the ending was abrupt and clearly leaving room for a Gears 6.
Of course.
No surprise there. Also, I feel like Gears 4 was the same thing, so was Halo.
IGN wrote, I can't help but compare it to the end of Halo 2, though. The cutoff is not nearly as egregious here.
Finishing the fight.
Yeah.
Credits.
I mean, it's more we finished a game in 9 months.
All in all, though, the 5th installment of the Gears franchise was well liked by critics.
God is a Geek gave it a 10 out of 10, saying, quote, if you didn't think you needed another Gears of War, you were wrong.
Because it's just called Gears now.
Gears 5 is a barnstorming success and a triumphant return for the series.
Who uses that word anymore?
Barnstorming?
It's running for president in 1915, apparently.
Yeah, I mean, there was some sort of...
This is a real upgrade over my hooping stick. They added that this is the essential first-party game the Xbox One desperately needed.
Ooh, fighting words.
Yeah, Forza Horizon 4 is over there, like, just tapping its foot. That's all.
But people want meaty men cutting things in half.
Right.
And this time, females.
Yeah, people just don't care about racing games anymore. It's weird.
So next up is Iceborne, the Chile expansion to 2018's highly successful Monster Hunter World. That's actually out tomorrow.
Yeah, Monster Hunter used to be one of those franchises that was huge in Japan, but not so much everywhere else. One of those like Dragon Quest sort of deals.
Yeah, Monster Hunter World completely changed all of that, though. It was a breakout hit and went on to sell 13 million copies, making Capcom's best-selling game ever.
Yeah, that's wild. That didn't sound right to me, but Brian put his reputation on it, so.
If I'm wrong, I will quit.
The big question here is, will the expansion live up to the original, which apparently was very, very good?
It's actually looking like it. Iceborne is really getting love from critics. The PS4 version has a 90 score on Metacritic. That's the last time we checked it, and it might be even going up or down. It's like a stock market over there. Be careful.
Yeah, who knows? There's people yelling, there's upvotes, there's downvotes, there's people throwing themselves out of windows.
We found a glitch!
The amount of content in the game is the big thing that people are really happy about, right?
Yeah, it's apparently huge. Lots of critics praised the beefiness of the expansion. Kotaku called it massive and deeply rewarding, with, of course, dozens of new monsters. So that's the big draw to Monster Hunter World. It's a grindy game. You kill the same monster millions of times, craft armor, and kill more monsters millions of times.
So there's a new item called the Clutch Claw, which is sort of like a grappling hook that lets you attach yourself to the side of a monster.
Games Radar said that the new item, quote, adds another level of strategy to hunts, which accentuates Monster Hunter's combat, fitting its game loop beautifully.
It's like crafting a fine line of poetry or a delicate tea.
And then you just beat a dinosaur in with freaking hammer.
All these weapons get upgraded, obviously, with new tricks while still retaining their fundamentals. Neato.
What's the other big attraction for this one, Brian?
So the other big attraction is the addition of master rank battles. That's basically a higher difficulty level. Monsters have more health, they do more damage, and they have new attacks. It really ups the replayability, it sounds like.
Man, that makes sense. And that's, that's the whole Monster Hunter formula. Destiny sort of watered it down and made it palatable, but yes, you fight a monster once and then you fight it again, and it's green now, and it takes about twice as long and has a new attack pattern.
There are also monsters that are exclusive to the Master Rank mode. Games Radar's reviewer said there are, quote, more than 20 new monsters total, including some surprising and incredibly tough deviants.
Deviants, speaking my language.
Spank me, daddy.
It's a new weapon, it's the paddle. So needless to say, Iceborne bumps up the difficulty level, which is what a lot of Monster Hunter people want. You can't play it until you finish the main campaign, so you can expect some really difficult fights, which is actually a really interesting thing. Like, usually you don't want to segregate your audience or reduce the possible size of the people that would buy the DLC. So it's really actually interesting that it just extends off the end of the game. Pretty much no games do that anymore.
Yeah, that's what we used to call an actual expansion. I guess you can expect a lot of grinding.
I mean, it wouldn't be a Monster Hunter game if there weren't hundreds of hours of grinding involved. What did Kotaku say about it, Brian?
Kotaku said Iceborne is not built for comfortable casual play. It's not for those dirty casual. It's specifically designed to push players to their limits. Again and again, it pulls off more ferocious monsters, creatures who move faster than anything previously seen, and whose strikes can cause debilitating status conditions. So yeah, a lot of grinding. I'm looking forward to it. I'm a Monster Hunter guy, so I'm excited.
And while the game is an expansion, lots of reviewers said it felt big enough to be a standalone game.
Oh, it feels good, yeah.
That's cool.
IGN wrote that it blurs the line between expansion and full-blown sequel, saying it adds a new story nearly as large as the base games, with almost as many new monsters to kill, carve, and wear like a celebratory tuxedo.
Cool. They added that there are innumerable quality of life improvements and some surprises too, which means that Iceborne manages to hit the high bar set by Monster Hunter World, no matter what you call it. Wow, I don't think I've ever heard DLC be praised so high in recent years. I can't think of anything
that's wild. It's genuinely cool to see Monster Hunter sort of come in and light like this, because for years it was sort of the domain of really creepy creepy PSP owners that would get very vicious about it. That's when I tried to get into it, and boy, was it not a friendly game then. Capcom's done a really good job of sort of working on the tutorial and quality of life stuff. It's really cool to see it, and also it's on PC now.
There you go, Monster Hunter fans. You're on top of the world. Do what you will with that power.
You got me thinking about playing it again. That's a feat, because I swore that game off. I was like, no more! Brian, you excited for Iceborne?
Yeah, I like grindy games like this, and the loop is just really addictive once you start going. And you can play with other people. You can just like put up a help sign, like, hey, I need help killing this monster, and a bunch of Japanese dudes will just show up and beat the shit out of it. So that's awesome also.
Are you talking about the game or wailing?
The what?
Nothing.
Today's episode of Inside Gaming Daily is sponsored by Drop and the COS GMR 54X ISO headset. Now, Drop is formerly known as Mass Drop. They've rebranded a little bit, but same old thing. You can buy in bulk and get discounts specifically on the COS GMR headset. They're selling that today for 50 bones. This headset is a collaboration between Drop and the storied audio engineers at COS, a US-based company responsible for making the world's first stereo headphones in 1958, but they're doing one better. Stereo, just 2 speakers. That's dumb, lame, we're not into it. We're gamers, we need the most cutting edge tech to give us the edge. The GMR is engineered with an emphasis on locational sound, or what you may have heard of as 3D sound. That's right, sounds in 3 dimensions now. That means it uses positional cues to create a soundscape that feels like a 3D world. Theoretically, that means when you're playing a game, you can get the edge on your stupid plebeian virgin stereo headphone wearing asshole competitors by learning exactly where people are by using audio cues to figure out if they're above you, below you, behind you, in front of you, all of that sort of thing. The GMR accomplishes its exceptional 3D sound with cutting-edge custom audio acoustics engineered by COS and found deep within the headphones themselves. Not surface level, they're buried down in there. Working closely with the engineers at COS, Drop has made some improvements on this headset that really take it to the next level of comfort and performance. You can check out that headset today at dro.ps/insidegaming-COSGMR to get your COS GMR headset today. Once more, that's dro.ps/insidegaming-COSGMR. Thank you, Drop, and thank you, COS, for the sponsorship. Your God of War.
In the game, you play as Jesse Is it Faden?
Yeah.
Yeah. So in the game, you play as Jesse
I'm gonna
Faden.
be Jesse Faden when I play this game, I'll tell you that.
Don't do drugs, kids, unless it's legal in your state. So yes, you play as this character, Jesse Faden, who shows up at a shadowy agency called the Federal Bureau of Control. You're looking for your younger brother who is kidnapped by the group. But then, of course,